Hey guys, in this video we're going to take a look around Arduino and see some of the different things that we can do with it. So to start off, every time we open Arduino we're going to see void setup and void loop. And these are what we call functions. And the way we can identify a function is that they're going to have a return type, which for this one is void. It's going to have a name, which this one's setup. And it's also going to have these curly braces. Anything inside of these curly braces is what runs in the function. So setup will have a different set of code than loop. So moving on, some of the buttons at the top, we've got under this file button, if we want to open a brand new set of code, we can click new and it'll open a new file. If we want to open an old thing of code we've done that we have saved, we can click open and we can go through and find some of our old code. So the next button we want to look at is this check mark. It's called verify, but it's really a compile button. And basically what it's going to do is try to run your code and see if it can find any errors in it. So if I go ahead and click that now, it should run fine because there's no errors. But let's say I take out this curly brace and I try to run it again, and it's going to give me an error down here at the bottom. And for these error messages, we can click this and pull up, and it'll give us more information. And here we can see it's expecting a closed curly brace. So we can move this back down, and once we find that error, we can fix it, recompile, and now it's going to say done compiling, and there's no red, so that's great, no errors now. The next button to look at is the upload button right next to it. And what this button is going to do is take whatever code you've written and put it into your robot so that it can run it. You've got to make sure that your dip switch number 1 is flipped to on and your robot is plugged in before it will successfully upload to your robot. You can also see anytime we make a change to our code, this little symbol right here is going to show up. And what that means is that you haven't saved your code yet. A way to get around that is you can click Control and S and it will save, or you can come up to File, click Save. Another way to get rid of it is to click Verify or Upload. Both of those will automatically save your code as well. And as you can see, anytime you change anything to your code, even taking out one letter, it's going to make you resave it before it can actually use it, your changes. Another button that we're going to be using in the future is the serial monitor button. For now, we just want to know where it is, and we'll go into using it more later on. Something we're going to be using a lot is called a library, and this is how we actually implement it. What this is saying is I want to include the smartinventor.h library. And what that library is it's basically just code with a bunch of functions in it that we can use and reuse multiple times. We'll go ahead and go take a look at that library so we can see what's in it. Here we can see the smartinventor.h library. There's a ton of information in here. And we wouldn't want to have to type this every time we make a new program for our robot. So when we type #include smartinventor.h, it just condenses all of this into one line. So while you've been watching this video, you might have been wondering what this line is. This is what we call a comment. And comments are for making notes for yourself so you can document what you're doing, or just making notes for yourself so you can learn something. There's two ways to make comments. There's this way that has the double slash, and anything you put after it, I can say this is a comment. So this will compile just fine because your code will ignore everything after this double slash. But if you were to put this in front of your comment, it will actually pick that up, and now you're going to get a compile error. And there's one more way to make comments. it's slash asterisk, and if you just hit enter, it'll complete it for you. And now we can write code on multiple lines. And this should compile just fine. Awesome. So yeah, for these you want to make sure it's after the slash asterisk and before the asterisk slash for your comments. And for the double slash, you just want to make sure it's after the double slash. So the best way to learn with coding and robots and stuff like that is to just play with it as much as you can. And when you play with it, eventually something's probably going to break or something's going to go wrong. So in order to kind of do a factory reset, Rokit has a default program for their robots that you can use. In order to find that, in case you do need to kind of like hard reset your robot and start from scratch, you go up to File, Sketchbook, Rokit, and then Smart. The one we want to use is this Recovery Smart Inventor. Under Models, we have some more example programs we can use too. I think this MouseBot program is kind of like an avoid obstacle type of program if you wanted to open it and look at it. But we want this one. And when we open this, we see it's a very big file. It's got a bunch of those .h header files, and it's also pretty long too. But once we get this open, just plug in your robot, dip switch 1 set to on, and then upload it, and this will give us like a nice factory reset for our robot.